Hey Star Wars nerds, I am here to do a book review. I actually just finished reading The Path of Destruction, a novel of the Old Republic by Drew Karpyshyn. I hope to God I'm pronouncing his name right. This is what the book looks like. I didn't buy it. I checked it out from the library, and usually if it's a book that I love, then I'll actually go and buy it. Yeah, it was recommended to me by some friends on Facebook. Yeah, overall, I enjoyed the book. I know this book is not a part of canon. I know it's considered legends, but I really wanted to know more about the character of Darth Bane that I've heard so much about, mentioned on Collider Jedi Council and whatnot, and on the Star Wars fan pages. So yeah, okay, so what I liked about the book. Well, a quick summary, first of all. It follows a story of a Sith Lord that takes place, I want to guess, at least 1,000 years before the original trilogy. And it has to do with a Sith called Darth Bane and how he discovered the Force, how he was sensitive to it, and how his subsequent turn to the dark side. So, okay, overall, I really liked this character. I like how in the beginning they just didn't jump in and, oh, he's already a Sith. No, they spent a couple chapters going over his history and backstory and how he grew up and how he was treated by his father and how he discovered he was Force sensitive. So I really liked that aspect of it. And I really liked a completely different take that the Sith and the Jedi, what they were like back then. The Jedi seemed a little bit more reckless, I would say, with how they are dealing with the Sith. And obviously there's not two Sith. In this book, there is a massive army of Sith. And so they're constantly battling for planets and territories and trying to win and whatnot. What's cool is Coruscant is mentioned, so that tells you how old Coruscant is, which is pretty cool. I wish they had gone into a little bit more detail about what it looked like back then, because obviously 1,000 years from when we know Coruscant, it's going to change a lot, quite a bit. Okay, yeah, so that aspect of it was pretty neat. The one thing I didn't care for was once Bane realizes he's Force sensitive, he goes to a Sith Academy, so to speak, to train, to hone his senses for the dark side, to learn how to fight, to learn how to control the Force. And he has fundamental disagreements with what the Sith want their army to be, so to speak, and he views it as something different, and he senses that they don't know that their path that they're bringing their group down is going to lead to destruction, and Darth Bane wants to take it to another area of it. And so he leaves the academy he's at, so to speak, and he goes to try to find out other Sith teachings. And one thing that didn't really make sense to me was he comes across this temple on another planet where he finds a holocron from another Sith from, I'm guessing, hundreds of years before, called Darth Revan. And I have yet to read those books. Those are next. But what was a little bit unbelievable to me is he goes from a pupil that is extremely Force sensitive and is very wise with the dark side of the Force. But in the span of like 2.5 pages, just from listening to a holocron and to Darth Revan's teaching, he surpasses the masters that were teaching him at the academy he left. So that really didn't make sense to me, and it didn't flow right. Maybe I just don't know enough about holocrons and how powerful they can be. But it seems to me he didn't go through any practical learning exercises to actually use those things. Another thing, a little bit of a spoiler, is at the very end of the novel there is a confrontation between the Sith and the Jedi, and the Sith decide to overpower and try and kill all the Jedi by like encompassing all their power into what is called a thought bomb, and it just explodes and kills everything. One, I can understand the concept of it, but two, just the word thought bomb is kind of ridiculous to me. They couldn't have thought of a cooler name. But other than that, there was a female character in this that I really enjoyed. Her name was Githany, and she was actually training to be a Jedi, but she left the academy and I believe was kicked out. I'm a fast reader, so I might have missed over some of the details. But she was training to be a Jedi and actually left because she favored the dark side more. So her character was pretty interesting. It was nice to see a little bit of her story in there as well. Other than that, yeah, I know there's two more books in this series, and I'm definitely going to read them. But overall, I thought this was an interesting read. Definitely nice little window to what the universe was like in the Old Republic. I know it's not canon, like I said, but it's still cool to read, and it's fun to read characters because with Disney making so many new books and films, you just never know if any of these old characters like Thrawn are going to be introduced into the new canon. So, all right, Path of Destruction, that was the book. All right, overall, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. All right, and if you have read the book and you have more interesting insight than what I'm able to give, chime in on the comments. Other than that, have a great day. Bye.